Wayne. I am the Lone Headbanger. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is the second one of the week. I did the self-harm one yesterday, which is now available on the channel to have a look at. But this was the original one that I did want to do, so I felt it only right to put it out at the same time. So, as promised, the subject is fear. Now, I'm not sure if you're like me in this respect, but whenever I immediately think fear, I always think spiders or monsters or nightmares or anything like that, you know, things that terrify you and that kind of thing. And while that is actually obviously fear, it's not strictly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fear of very real life situations. So fear can come into our lives for many reasons. As always, I'll use myself as an example here. So the fear I'm experiencing at the moment, I am at this present time still furloughed from work, and I am due to go back soon. Now, I enjoy my work and I love my colleagues, so I should have no issue with going back, but because of my current difficulties with my mental state, it's really causing me some anxiety and literal fear for going back in. What I'd also like to say about is an experience that I had previously with one of my old jobs, where I went off sick with depression and anxiety, and after 3 months, I believe it was, off, the time obviously came to me to return to work, but the difficulty getting me even through the door was so extreme. I was shaking, my nerves were an absolute mess, and it wasn't who I usually am, but that fear was still there because of what had built up in my mind. There are so many other things to be afraid of in the world at the moment as well, especially the way things are. Loss is obviously one of them. I mean, I'm afraid of losing my parents, my siblings. You know, that's an obvious fear. I mean, there are no, apart from obviously the COVID situation, there's no immediate danger to them. No one's sitting there with a gun at their head that I'm aware of course. But it's still a relevant fear. And another one that I have as well is a strange one, really. It's lack of control, or fear of lack of control within my life. It's the fear that things are spiralling out of control without me being able to do anything about it. So it's the fear that I don't have any control of my life and the situations they're in. And I believe they are all relevant fears. They are relevant to real life and things that can happen in life. So they are capable, the fear reaction to those circumstances can cause all sorts of detrimental effects. We're talking things like panic attacks and mania. We're talking about irrational thinking, you know, where your mind is rushing and you're coming to illogical conclusions or something like that, simply because your mind is that frantic to find an answer. Things like paralysis, where you literally just freeze up on the spot. There are so many detrimental effects that fear can have on you. Another one obviously is the conflict between your flight and fight response, because obviously one half of your brain is, if you're afraid of something, is telling you to run away from it, and then the other half is telling you to no, push on. And obviously if you're being struck with one of those situations while you're trying to make an important decision and you need to make it quickly, it can turn into an absolute nightmare. So there are ways to get around this sensation, this fear. Now, it's never going to be easy, because fear is part of our human nature. It's one of our responses to situations. So in order to fight against it, it is going to take some effort. However, it is possible. I'm still learning the techniques myself, but they are there to be learned if you are willing to put the time in. So one of the main ones at the moment that I've been told about is called CBT, which is a cognitive behavioural therapy, even. And basically it's just a way of slowing your brain down. So if you are faced with a decision, it basically, rather than your mind whirling and coming to all sorts of conclusions, especially bad ones, and in my case, it teaches your brain to slow down and process properly. And obviously if you're doing that, you're thinking more about it, and you can think of positives better and come to better solutions, rather than just rushing an answer through all this whirl and then just spitting out whatever's there. So that's one. There's plenty of calming exercises, breathing exercises that are available to do. As ridiculous as it sounds, the smartwatch I bought the other day actually has a calming exercise built into it. It's only a breathing exercise, and you can do it for 1 or 2 minutes, and literally it just has you breathe and measures your breathing for just a minute or 2 minutes. And it's amazing how different you can feel after that 1 minute of just a steady breathing pattern while trying to clear your mind and not think too much about what's upsetting you. Just literally focus on taking the breaths along with the timing, and that can really clear your head. And it worked for me yesterday. In fact, I just thought I'd try it out, and when I came away from it I was like, okay, I feel better and I'm going to go and do something productive this afternoon. So that really helped. There is a technique called grounding as well, and I think I don't know much about this one at the moment, but I believe it's to do with your senses. It's like touch 5 things, hear 4 things, see 3 things, that kind of thing. As I said, I don't know too much about it, but I know that technique is there to keep you in the here and now and keep you focused on here and now, as opposed to letting your mind just completely and utterly scramble. And the one that got me the most was a change of outlook. Now, going back to my example previously about my old job, where I physically couldn't walk into the office for fear. The therapist I was talking to at the time asked me the question, why are you afraid to go back in? What's the fear? Where is this fear coming from? And I said, because I've been off for so long, and I'd been putting Facebook statuses up saying I'd gone for a walk or something like that, or I'd gone out on a Saturday night or something like that. And there'd been people saying that because I'd been going out and what have you, then there was nothing wrong with me, and that I was just skiving off. And obviously that hit me hard. So it was really the judgment that I was going to receive when I came back from my colleagues, which was the big thing. I had this big fear in my head of people staring at me as I walked through the office and whispering and not wanting to talk to me and treating me like an outcast. Which, I mean, I class myself as an outcast most of the time anyway, but when you have to work with these people, that can be kind of difficult. So I explained about the fear of the whispering, and my counsellor, or my therapist, sorry, said, right then, so assuming they look at you when you go in, so what? And I literally stopped and I was like, oh yeah, if they look, big deal. It's not going to affect me. It's not going to do anything, is it? If they whisper behind my back, well, that's their problem, not mine, kind of thing. And it really just changed my outlook. That one simple so what, and it really stopped me in my tracks and made me think. And that was one of the things that got me in. And believe me, when it came to the day where I went in, and I only went in for about an hour, I think, on the first day, just to go and talk to a couple of the guys and find out where I'd be sitting and what I was doing. But there wasn't any staring, or if there was a stare, it was accompanied by a smile and a nod of recognition and friendship. And my colleagues were really, really good. I will say as well that my colleagues in my current employment were the same when I came back after a similar situation recently. So I'll thank them very much for that. And people will be supportive. They really will. You'll get the odd one that isn't, but they won't make that public, I don't think. But generally speaking, your colleagues will support you, because nobody likes seeing people suffer. If you like seeing people suffer, then you're the problem, not them. So generally speaking, people will always help you, and your fear, for the most part, in these kind of situations is unfounded. So just with that little bit of push of confidence, that tiny bit of push of confidence, and that so what attitude in that particular situation, I overcame. Now that doesn't going to work for every situation, it was just an example. But what I'm saying is with the right mindset, if you can adjust your mindset, then that is really, really going to help. So I'm still having counselling with regards to my mental issues at the moment. With my self-esteem is my big problem, and that's causing a lot of anxiety. So there is help out there, as I said. There are meds that are available to help. As I said, there's plenty of counsellors available. If you're having real trouble, have a chat to your GP. See what they can recommend. There are answers. There are people out there who are suffering with similar things. So if you're willing to ask the question of people, you'll get your answers. So what I want to say in closing on this video is the power to fight back against said fear. It's within you. It is your mind. It's your mind, and you can control it, rather than letting it control you. It might not seem so easy, and it isn't, but you can get that level of control if you really want to. So just learn to put the time in and let your mind slow down, process your thoughts. But at the end of the day, that's just a computer. You control that. You can control your mind to solve problems. Don't let it run away. It's yours. Take control of it. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks ever so much for watching. I will be uploading another video next Wednesday with any luck. I'm not sure what the subject's going to be next week. I haven't decided. There's a couple that I want to touch on. But we'll see when we get there. So it's a tough world out there at the moment. It's a very scary place. So with that in mind, stay strong, conquer your fear, and you can conquer the world. My name's Wayne, I'm the Lone Headbanger. Thanks for watching.